My name is Tom Jacobs, and I'm an evolutionary astrologer and a psychic medium, and also a channel.
Could you tell us what an evolutionary astrologer is and how that differs from quote-unquote regular astrology, if there is a regular astrology?
Sure, we might say traditional astrology, which would include a bunch of different kinds of ways of doing astrology. Evolutionary astrology primarily looks at how people change over time, both within a particular life and also within multiple lives. So it's an astrology that takes some Eastern ideas about reincarnation and the soul, but then kind of speaks the astrology through a Western lens.
So what types of questions could you answer for a client as an evolutionary astrologer, and what types of questions can you not answer?
Well, in general, evolutionary astrology will help people understand why they are the way they are and kind of what life opportunities are being presented at any given time. So self-understanding, understanding this particular moment as part of a chapter in life. What we don't do is we don't do prediction, and we don't answer where your keys are, or when he'll come back to you, or when will you meet her. We don't do that kind of stuff. But self-understanding and getting insight into the life as one picture, and then that particular life as a picture in a multi-life journey. That's what we do.
Okay. So I also know hear that you're a medium and a channel.
Yes.
Does every evolutionary astrologer do that work?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
And so, what do you do as a medium and a channel?
So as a medium, there are two different ways of working with energies we can't see, or consciousnesses that we can't, that are not embodied. As a medium, I work with the spirits of people who have died. And so medium, indicates being a bridge between worlds or dimensions. So when it comes to working with clients as a medium, I help them resolve their relationships with deceased family members, including understanding what the souls contracted or agreed to do together. And then I also do something called spirit release and rescue, which involves counseling spirits who have passed away, people who have passed away, and helping them transition out of the earthbound phase they've come out of and into, we might think of it as heaven or the light or something, but into the next phase of existence.
So as a client, as a medium and channel, people might come to you wanting to maybe sort of repair or seek insight into relationships with their deceased loved ones. But what about spirit release? You don't get a call from people on the other side. What does that look like? How can you help people with spirit release and rescue?
Yeah. Well, sometimes during a reading, a client says, I need to resolve this with my dad. He died 30 years ago. So we work on that, and many times the dad will come through. And if that dad needs to, quote unquote, release himself from this plane, then I can support him in doing that. Outside of a reading, sometimes I have been drawn to turn left instead of right, and then kind of go on this garden path to find a location where a spirit is in need of human help in order to move on. I just did that recently at a friend's house, where he wanted to use his backyard and perhaps a building in the backyard for teaching, but he couldn't go in the building because it was just such a terrible energy. And it had been used by squatters who were drug addicts until he moved in about a year ago, when his landlord cleared them out. But so the energy was still there, and their energy actually created an environment for the spirits of two deceased addicts to be there, and that occupied the space. So I went in and I worked with those two spirits and helped them understand the multi-life journey of soul, and how the emotions that they experienced during life, which were pretty terrible, didn't have to be what they're experiencing now. One left, and one prepared to leave, and my friend emailed me and said that the energy had completely shifted and he was able to go in. And so
if someone's thinking that, their house might be quote unquote haunted or having problems, then they can call you.
Yes.
And you can help them.
Yeah, I do that.
With that.
and do that. I love doing that. It's really important work. Where we are in human evolution in this phase we're in, you might talk about it as near the end of the Mayan calendar. You might say that we're nearing the Aquarian age, or whatever ways that you're talking about things are shifting on this planet and within us. It's imperative that spirits who have deceased, people who have deceased, understand what's happening and are able to go on to their next phase. It doesn't serve any of us to have anybody hanging around.
Yeah. In terms of going into next phases and healing, I understand you're able to see sometimes inside people's bodies.
Yes.
To root out energetic or emotional issues that might be having, might be causing them pain or an illness, and you help people move through these issues.
Yes.
Can you explain how that works?
Yeah. Perhaps I can't explain the process I go through, but how it actually looks is somebody might come to me and say, I'm having some health issue or an emotional issue, or they might not even approach it that way. They might even say, this is what's going on. And then whether they put my attention on a particular issue or I found the issue, I can find knots in people's energy fields and relating it to their astrological profiles using their birth charts, and also reading the energies that are in their bodies and understanding their past life histories and their relationships and their situation now in life. And I can see what's out of order, and I can step into it when I have their permission and unravel things and heal things and move energy.
And so people have told you, have given you feedback that things have cleared up in their bodies? And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have two kinds of clients with that. One says, I have this long-term chronic illness I know you cannot heal. Can you help me understand why it's here karmically? Like what the past life issue is. What's the energetic or emotional issue? And that's, understandably certain things in the body will have changed degeneratively or chronic degradation. The other kind is somebody comes to me and says, I keep hitting my head. So that's a behavioral accident kind of issue. Somebody says I have repeated bronchial infection. Another person comes in and says, there's this thing going on in my back. Another person comes in and says, my knees are always hurting me. So the second category is stuff that can actually be changed and shifted. And I have incredible feedback about that.
And do you do that kind of work over the phone, like long distance?
Yeah, I do that work in person and also over the phone long distance. I mean, that's a part of my astrology readings. Okay. That's just a part of me doing astrology readings. So you asked me about the mediumship. Let me tell you how I do the channeling too, and then I'll tell you how I combine all three together.
Great. Okay.
So with the medium, I'm being a bridge between different worlds. As a channel, I'm letting somebody speak through me to you. I do that with your spirit guides, and sometimes other beings who might be following you around and helping you. And then I also do it with the Ascended Master with whom I work, whose name is Jehudi. That's his Egyptian name. And then he's also known as Thoth or Thoth, and Saint Germain and Merlin. And at any given time, any face of those four could come through, and I have him speak to you directly during readings. So he explains why the soul is experiencing what it is, and why the soul has set out to experience what it is. So it's a profound experience to have this Ascended Master speak to you. He is if you understand anything about any of these faces, if you know Saint Germain, he is the keeper or the guardian of the violet flame of forgiveness, and he teaches us to have compassion. So to have somebody hold you in utter compassion, who can see what your soul is about and treats you as the divine being you are, to speak to you and to help you resolve your issues, it's a very special experience.
Great. And you've written a lot of books. You're on the web. Can you give us more of your website details?
Yeah, the website is tdjacobs.com. And there are 8 books available, 4 channel volumes, including the most recent Conscious Revolution, Tools for 2012 and Beyond, where I channel Jehudi on intuition, spirit guides, manifestation and creation, the kind of real story behind that, how to actually understand how it works and do it, how past lives affect present lives, and then turning fear into faith. Those being the 5 primary tools for us right now as we're near the end of the Mayan calendar preparing to enter the Aquarian age. And then there are 4 astrology books as well.
Okay. So if people want to get a hold of you, the best way for them to get a hold of you is
Through tdjacobs.com.
tdjacobs.com. Thank you, Tom Jacobs.
Thank you.